Coast Guard heroes arriving in the Abaco Islands.
5 young boys create a rescue trampoline.
The first to run a marathon in under 2 hours.
We have seen what we thought was unseeable.
A relay of dogs will lead blind runner Tom Panic across the finish line.
Nicolas Mahut lost in the French Open, but then his 7-year-old son ran onto the cart to give his dad a big hug.
Her and her sister have been heroes for many little girls out there.
I will thank my amazing mom. She's my hero.
I love you.
Exactly what I was thinking.
When you are free to be you, it is the best feeling in the world.
He is the Sully Sullenberger of pizza.
My family is making a grant to eliminate their student loans.
We know deep down what's right and what's needed.
I'm going to fight this.
Who says I can't? Nobody!
Here it comes. Never been done in competition.
The category is love, y'all. Love!
Use your heart, your courage and vision to fix, to heal, to empathize, to connect. Because living life for something bigger than yourself is a hero's journey.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Lisa Wisner, and I am so excited that you are tuned in to the Power Up Hero Show, a show where we share your story on how you are living a heroic life, and a show all about celebrating heroes who carry a busy workload and pull unimaginable superpowers from who knows where to make it all work. I'm most excited because this year, 2021, has really been a year of don't expect it to be things that you expect. It's really a year for me where I feel like 2020 made us realize that as humans, we must capitalize on the opportunities that are presented to us, whether they're positive or negative. And so I'm hoping that you're jumping into 2021, accepting those challenges, and seeing them as how can you be the hero of your story? How can you live your heroic story? Because you know what? Our world needs heroes today more than ever before. I'm most excited today because I'm bringing to you one of our most amazing hosts. You have probably seen her before, or you've heard of her before. Sometimes on the show, I'm like, my Megan, or I'll say, like Megan says, and people probably are like, who is this Megan? Well, ladies and gentlemen, everybody who's watching, I am so excited to introduce you to my Megan and introduce her to come on the Power Up Hero Show. Welcome, Megan.
Hey, Lisa. I am so excited to be here with you guys. When I saw that intro, I could feel everything just building, and I was so excited because it really did make me realize how powerful human beings are. Yes. There are so many things in this world that have these amazing properties, right? When we think about plants and when we think about fruit and when we think about all these things that we take for granted, they have such amazing superpowers. But I think the one thing above all things is people.
Oh, yes.
And today I am so excited to join you and to join all of the viewers here.
Yeah.
See who our guest is and how she powers up people every day.
Oh, Megan. So y'all know why I brought Megan onto the show. Just that alone. I mean, you're talking about people are awesome, and that's exactly why you're here, Megan, because I think what you've done in our community, you're a public servant at heart, right? So at heart, you just love people, you love serving. But I just want to share just a little bit about you. For those of you who don't know who Megan is, Megan Isasi is an award-winning talent development expert. In fact, Megan, what I like to say is that Megan lives her life on a mission to try to grow you as a human and everyone in our community to see themselves as the number one asset. I'm not kidding. Like everything Megan does, I feel like everything that flows through her veins is about seeing everybody capitalizing on their strengths and how they can turn their talents into strengths. That's really what I think her work is. I've had the pleasure of working side by side with Megan, see her do this work, but I'm excited because I believe that not only are we going to capitalize on Megan's presence here in terms of her energy and her motivation, but I think her insight into our Power Up heroes is going to be really good because I know Megan's all about passion. She's all about perseverance, and she's all about living truly to your purpose. So Megan, welcome to the show. And before we even go further, I want to celebrate you because 2021 needs more heroes in it. So thank you for being on the show, Megan. We're excited for you.
Thanks, Lisa. I'm excited. I'm ready. I got my notes because I'm ready to take
notes.
Yeah,
okay. I got my notes too. For some reason, I take notes even when someone's not even saying anything that needs to be taking notes. I'm taking notes. So I'm glad we're taking both taking notes. We all take diligent notes. If you want to be a talent expert, you take notes, right? But let's go ahead and get started with the show and find out who our guest is today. So today we are excited because this year I really decided I wanted to bring in people who are our most unlikely heroes or heroes you may not have even heard about. Sometimes you see our likely heroes as people who've been written up in magazines or you see them in shows. But I wanted to see who are these diamonds in the rough and who are these people who are just pulling superpowers from who knows where. I'm seeing them shine. And this person I'm bringing you today, for me, has been elevating and shining a spotlight on what it truly means to be your authentic self. I feel like this person not only has the characteristics of what an outstanding leader is about, but she's paving the way to having greater diversity, more inclusivity, and more change in our world. And so I'm going to read her bio, but before I do that, I'm going to bring her on because I really feel like she needs to come on. Leticia Wilson is our guest today, and she is a higher education professional. She's a life coach, an encourager, a motivator. I call her my master motivator. She's a descendant of the African diaspora, which is Afro, Cuban, and Caribbean. She's also the eldest of two, and we'll learn more about how she grew up all over the world. And in her childhood, I think she had so many amazing things happening, and I'm hoping that we can uncover how that has built her into the superhero, the superpower that she has today, how that has just being in such a, I guess you could say, an intersectional life that she's lived, how that has played a part in her life. I think that while we're talking about her being a superhero, a power-up hero, I want to mention that her unique perspective into education is really why I think she's truly been amazing. She has worked with historically Black universities, so that's HBCUs. She's also worked with, which I didn't even know before, PWIs, which are predominantly white institutions, and HSIs, which are Hispanic Serving Institutions. She's all about transformative social justice. And for me, she just feels like a person of change, a person who's put herself into the mindset of being a pillar of accountability in our community. So everybody watching, I want to introduce you to this amazing woman who is a leader, a consultant, an advisor, my master motivator. Welcome to the show, our Power Up hero of intentionality, Leticia Wilson. Welcome.
Oh my goodness. Thank you for allowing me to be on your Power Up stage. I am so grateful, Lisa and Megan. I am looking forward to the conversation today.
Oh, well, let me tell you, first of all, this is your stage, okay?
Yes.
Today is all about you. And so I'm literally vibrating because you need to know how powerful you are. You need to know how much power that you give other people by just living the life you live. You need to know that your professional career has paved a way for outstanding successes that are unimaginable. The energy that you project into our community, the motivation that you project into our community, the authenticity that you have in the life that you live has truly become an asset, not only for me, but for our community. And I know this. I know this because I actually asked a few people to let me know about Leticia when I didn't know who you were. And so I have Terry Samo, who told me she is so authentic and energetic. I have Daisy Yang, who said Leticia is one of the most professional persons I've had the privilege to work with. Her passion, her hard work for underrepresented people has led to many successful careers. She is not to be ignored. She's an uplifted spirit and personality. Belinda De La Cruz. Shout out to Belinda from Del Mar College. Leticia is an energizer. Leticia's energy and passion for our students is amazing. Chris Hubbard said Leticia is a true definition of a rock star. And I would be remiss if I did not ask Sharon Bailey Murphy, who's the manager of environmental affairs at the city of Corpus Christi. She said that her association with you alone is nothing less than exceptional. So I am not the only one in this community who believes that you are a power up hero. You need to know that this entire community is just cheering you on. And I'm just excited that you are on this show right now so we can unpack the onion of Leticia and talk about how have you built this life? How have you created an environment where so many people in our community said yes when I asked them questions about you? So, Megan, maybe we can go ahead and get started with usually the very first question I have is, Leticia, who are you? What do you do for a living? And who is Leticia in her professional career?
Oh my goodness, I have to pause and just say thank you to all the people that were pouring into me. Terry, Sharon, that's my sister from another mister. I mean, everybody that you named, my eyes are like Bernie Mac's, like, I can't believe it. It's one thing to work with people, but it's another thing to hear those words out loud. And I'm so humbly grateful for that. So thank you, Lisa, for that. So who am I?
Yeah.
I'm so happy
hold on 1 second. I have to tell you something, okay? So first of all, I usually ask other people on our show, I ask people who I think know them to send me feedback, and I usually don't get feedback. So I have to explain to you that I got feedback about you, and I just know that you are just amazing because people just came out and told me how amazing you are. So you know that. But tell us, who is Leticia?
Oh my goodness. Okay. I am just hot over here, just full up right now. But who am I? I'm happy that you asked. Typically, I like to start with this because I want people to know that I'm just human. I'm a human being. And then when I think about it, if I was bare naked in the field, who am I? Who am I? And that's why I like to start with, I'm a human being first. Mm-hmm. But a human being that's made up of all my experiences. That's the beauty. It's almost like if you're drawing a picture, you have the outline. I'm standing naked in the field and I'm thinking, who is Leticia Juanita Wilson? And then my experiences fold in. So like you said, I'm from the African diaspora, Caribbean, Cuban, right? And then I am a college-educated woman, but a third-generation college-educated woman, which is very few, especially my grandmother was born in 1928, when that time gender roles were really, in place where you're supposed to be barefoot and pregnant, right? After high school. And so not only that, but I'm well-traveled. Because I was a military brat, I got the chance to travel all over the world. I was in Germany for 10 years. Then I lived in Hopkinsville, Kentucky. Then I lived in Erie, Pennsylvania. And then I moved here after college and after grad school. But I'm also a person that loves to hear other people's story because I was always the new kids on the block. No, I'm not talking about the group, y'all. I'm kind of dating myself. But I was always the new kids on the block saying, hello, my name's Leticia. What's yours? Yeah. And before I could impart my own story, I had to hear other people's story. So I love to hear about other people's lives, other people's experiences. And one thing I love to do is I love to be outside. Yeah. Rather getting that vitamin D, especially here in Texas. This morning it was a little chilly, but I still went outside to get my fresh air. Yeah. So that's just a little bit about me, and I love taking risk. Yes. So every year I do something that scares me half to death. So one year, yes, I did go skydiving. That scared the bejeebies out of me. But I did it because I wanted to say, okay, what's something that I'm fearful of? What's something that seems like a challenge? But what's something that I'm going to do? How am I going to make that happen? And I did it. I did it. So it's not something that I just want to do for my own. It's something that I do for my students. Because I've been in higher ed for a long time. I used to be a track and field coach. I used to run for my college, which is a small HBCU, Wilberforce University. Whoop, whoop, for all my Wilberforce fans. Let the force be with you, okay? Established in 1866. But then also, we celebrated our 113th birthday because I am a distinguished lady of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, where we believe in service to all mankind, where I am so happy to be a part of a group of ladies that we are going to have the first woman in office who is a part of my sorority, President-elect.
I know.
Harris. So that's just a little bit about me. I love music because my dad used to DJ at a club when we lived in Germany. And I love food. Food is the way that brings people together. If it's something new, let me try it so we could talk about it. And then we could cook about it, even on Zoom. Like, let's talk. So I love life and I'm going to live life to the fullest. Like Les Brown says, I want to live full and I want to die empty. So that's just a little bit about me.
My goodness, Megan, can we just drop the mic right now? Because
I know
what just happened. Okay,
I know. I feel like she was doing some kind of poetry slam, and she was going so fast. I feel like I need to snap and
snapping fingers right here because honestly, like, let me tell you all, Leticia. Before we go any further, first of all, let's just vibe on your AKA, right? So, like, I saw your LinkedIn post where you were celebrating, I guess, Founders Day. Is this Founders Day?
Yes. Yesterday was Founders Day. Yes.
Okay.
Indeed.
So tell me more about this. There's another shot of you celebrating Founders Day. So you have so much pride in AKA. Tell me about this. And I guess, did you join the organization when you were in college? Tell us about your education. Like, what type of education do you have? What have you done? What colleges have you gone to?
Okay, so let me start with, I love my dear Alpha Kappa Alpha. So it's kind of funny because they say that when I was born in 1983, so that tells you my age. I'm not afraid of my age. I'm not afraid of being 37. Okay, I'm not afraid. But Alpha Kappa Alpha, our colors, pink and green, kind of resonate in my veins because my grandmother was in the organization for 50 plus years.
Okay.
My mother, who's still in the organization, we're all in the organization. My grandmother has passed, but we call her an ivy beyond the wall. So she has laid down that legacy. And then my mother, legacy. And then my mother, she's been in for over 30 years. Love you, Mom. Linda Wilson and Wilberforce. Love you. And then I've been in the organization. So talk about my schooling. So I started at Wilberforce University, like I shared with you earlier. And I really, truth be told, I didn't want to go there. I said to myself in high school, I want to get out of Ohio because that's where I'm originally from.
Okay.
And I said, I don't want to go to school in Ohio. I want to go outside of state. But my mom said, honey, you're going to the school that gives you the most money. So stop complaining. And so I said, okay, Ma, because Wilberforce University gave me more than I could ever imagine. They gave me a free tuition because I was on the academic and track and field scholarship. And they gave me internship opportunities while I was in college because that was a part of the curriculum. So we couldn't just graduate with a piece of paper and say, done, 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 done. It was about what experiences can we build together. So when you graduate, you have your degree, but you also have internships experience. So it was mandatory because if you make things optional, it won't happen.
Which college is this again? Remind me. What is it again?
Wilberforce University.
Say that again?
Wilberforce University.
So they had a curriculum set up where it was mandatory to get internships, mandatory to set yourself up for success. That is unheard of because I think in most universities, you have to seek those out as a student.
Yep.
Wow, what a foundation
of my undergrad is we had what's called a cooperative education department. And so we had to have 2 internships. One had to be within your major for my undergraduate degrees in biology. And so they helped us find internships. Not only that, but they cultivated us as future employees. So we had etiquette classes at the dinner table. We had dress code. We had resume building. We had how do you sell yourself when you're face to face or when you're in the elevator.
Yes.
And then how do you continuously update your resume as you go along the journey?
Yeah.
So I'm so grateful because my first internship was not in country.
Yeah.
It was out of country in Nigeria, West Africa.
Wow.
In Nigeria. So I got the chance to work with the USDA, working with food security and food handling. I was not there for 2 weeks, y'all. I was there for 2 months. I got the best opportunity to stay with my host family, EVA, Ogo, Mama, Papa, I love you. And so not only was it an internship experience where I learned how to safe package sun-dried meat, which in Nigeria they call it kelishi, but also it was
beef jerky. That's like beef jerky.
Yes, exactly.
Kelishi.
So not only did I get that experience with working with food handling and food security, but I got the cultural immersion. And so I call any country on the continent of Africa my homeland, because my ancestors were stripped from there. And so that I was the first person in my family to lay my 2 feet in the homeland. Can you imagine? I wasn't even a sophomore yet. I was a rising sophomore to have that experience. So that's where I went to undergrad. I had many other internships experience that really groomed my journey. I don't want to be in the lab because I like to interact with people. I don't want to do polymerase chain reactions or PCRing or amputating DNA. I want to be able to collaborate with people. So that's why I really narrowed down that funnel in my college experience because of the university I went to.
Okay, so I'm unpacking everything that's Leticia right now. So let me kind of see where we're at, okay? So you growing up, you were obviously, you said you were you were a child growing up in different states. So you were like a military brat, right? So you went to different places. So I almost say that you have a good sense of the world, right? So you understand that the world exists, right? So that's one thing about you. And then second, you had the good fortune of listening to your mom. No, I'm kidding. and sometimes I say luck happens to you, right? But maybe it happens for you. You ended up at a university where they were supporting you and making you into a productive citizen, right? Which is a person who is prepared for the workforce. You got internships. Megan knows all about internships. Megan and I worked on we're like sweat trying to bring interns into the work we did, because we knew the value of that, right? And so it almost sounds like your foundation is built off of having a worldview and also having people, listening to people, right? So listening to your legacy, listening to your legacy tell you where you should go and what you should do. And so I really appreciate that. But tell us, what did you graduate with? What is your degrees in, or what is your degree in?
So that's a great question. So my bachelor's is in biology because at one time in my life, I was medical school driven.
Yeah, I heard you say in the lab, and I'm going, she's not in the lab right now. So biology, oh my gosh, so you want to be a doctor? Or
At one time, I wanted to be a medical doctor. And then I went to Antioch University, which is in Yellow Springs. I love Yellow Springs, for my master's in educational leadership.
Wow.
And then right now, I'm in my 3rd semester of my PhD program at Kansas State University, working on my PhD in leadership and academic advising. With my amazing cohort members, we are the inaugural cohort of this program. So shout out to KSU.
Awesome. KSU. So I have some friends who went to KSU, and so I see they're putting hashtags all over. And actually, we had an amazing guest on our show whose sister did graduate from KSU. So I'm so excited that you said KSU. So hopefully she's watching. But so you got your degrees not in biology. What made you shift from science, right? So you shifted from biology and not being a doctor, and now you're doing education. What made you do that? How did you get into, I guess you could say, I guess the best question actually is, how did you get into higher education? And especially right now, I know you work in the academic field in terms of advising. How did you get there? What is that path for you?
Oh my goodness, that was a windy path. Nothing of that was scripted. Almost like this interview, nothing is scripted. It's just you asking me questions, right? So once I went to graduate school, and let's say after undergraduate, I figured out, you know what am I going to do? I still want to go to medical school. I went to a post-bac program to help me groom my MCAT, which is a medical college admissions test. And that was a year-long program. I ended up failing. So I had to come home and live with my mama. Mama, Nana, I love you. But that was hard. Living in a household, we have very strong personalities. I already had my bachelor's degree. So I said, okay, I got to figure out how to make money because Sally Mae is knocking on my door. Sally Mae is the lender, you know?
Yes.
So I said, okay, well, how am I going to figure this thing out? So in Ohio, where I'm originally from, with a bachelor's degree, you can substitute teach K through 12. So I decided, okay, I'll do this because I don't want to work at retail or anything like that. I want to go in and substitute teach. So I substitute taught in elementary school, middle school. Elementary school, they kind of cried too much. Middle school, they still had helicopter parents. High school, I felt like they were teaching towards a test. But college, I had the opportunity to work with Trio, Upper Bound, Trio people in the house. Put it in the chat.
I did Upward Bound.
You did Upper Bound?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I was an international student, so technically it's a federal program, so I was not supposed to be in it. But anyway, let's just put that away. The point is that I made friends, and so what happened is this is how my husband and I are like. This is how we got married because he was Upward Bound, and then I wanted to be Upward Bound because Dennis Wisner was in Upward Bound. Anyway, long story short, I wasn't Upward Bound by accident.
By accident.
Newbie. So
and we go on trips.
I love that. I love that. Look at that intersectionality already. Okay. So Upper Bound, I was working as a substitute teacher. That's not permanent. It doesn't give you benefits. They just call you when they need you. So I said, I need some benefits because I'm going to be off my parents' insurance soon. And I was just keeping, as the kids would say, I'm keeping it 100, right? Yeah. So I was looking for something. And then an Upward Bound position came where I would be the head resident director. So I lived in the dorms with 8th graders through 12th graders that were in Upward Bound at Wittenberg University. And that's where I got my appetizer for higher ed because the students were still in that transition point, but the bridge students, which were the 12th graders, were getting exposed to the college life. And I said, I like this, but I don't like living where I work. So I was able to kind of funnel, right? And then after that, I said, you know what? I think I'm going to go back to school. So that's when I went to Antioch University and decided to knock on the door and apply for that master's in educational leadership. After I got the master's, I was frustrated because that was in 2008 when the economic downturn was just like, nobody was hiring. Yeah. So I said, and it's a job trying to find a job. I was applying everywhere, Lisa, Megan. I was applying everywhere. I was even applying as a flight attendant. I was applying in a lab where I didn't want to be. I was applying for a job everywhere. But everybody was like, oh, if you get a degree, it's a shoo-in. No, it's not. You have to bring other things to the table. And that's why I say to any student that's watching, anytime you have the opportunity to get experience, do it. Because that is going to set you apart. Okay, that's the educator in me. After that, I found a job and it was at a for-profit institution and they gave me a chance. That was in Cleveland, Ohio. And that was my first experience as an academic advisor. And I said, ooh, I like this. I get to help students with their journey, with their charting their course for their coursework. I also get a chance to talk about their life because you can't talk about people business as usual without getting to know them as people, right? And then unfortunately that school had some accreditation issues. So I was starting to apply to other places. And then I got the call from Del Mar College in Corpus Christi, Texas. And it was a Title V HSI, Hispanic Serving Institutions. Yes. And it was a STEM job, science, technology, engineering, and math advisor. So it fit all of my intersectionalities of me, my biology degree, education. But I had to take a chance because the job was funded through a grant. And grants have a beginning date and end date. And I was in Ohio at the time. And I said, you know what? Because this opportunity has came down and I believe the Lord put this job in my journey. I'm going to take it, even though it only lasts 5 years. Soon, I will be here in Corpus Christi for 9 years. So that just tells me that you have to step out on faith. Yes. You have to say, I'm going to take that chance so you can move forward. And so that started my higher ed degree. Now I am the director of advising initiatives at Del Mar College. They believe in me. the executive team leadership has believed in me from the beginning. They've cultivated my growth. They support me in everything that I'm trying to do and want to do. They give me the autonomy to be the professional that I am. And now I'm just walking in my truth. So that's my journey.
Oh, okay. So your journey is all about finding the opportunity and going for it, right? So whatever your heart leads you to, you go for it. I want to bring in an amazing person who was on the show, and she's probably on the show still, Dr. Tammy. So I brought this picture on because you do some work with Dr. Tammy, who, by the way, is one of our PowerUp heroes, and she's our catalyst. We call her our catalyst, okay? So Dr. Tammy works with you at Del Mar College. And so tell me about why you bring Dr. Tammy to the work you do.
I'm so happy you asked that, Lisa. I love me some Dr. Tammy Francis, okay? Tammy, I love you, sis. And happy Founders Day to you and your organization. So Dr. Tammy Francis and I work hand in hand because developmental education is huge. Especially Del Mar College, for those of you who do not know, we are a 2-year community college that's nestled in Corpus Christi, Texas. And the beauty of community colleges is that we are open access. So we don't have barriers that if you don't have this score, you can't come in. We meet you where you are. So because of that, sometimes our students come in not college level ready. So it doesn't mean that they're not ready for the challenge. That means we want to meet them and then elevate them. So that way, when they do take college level courses, they are ready and they're equipped. I mean, when I went to college, I had to go to Calculus 1 and I had to take developmental math classes. So it's not about feeling down on yourself because you're coming in at a certain level, because a lot of our students, the average age is 24 years old. So you've been out of high school for some time. So you're just re-upping your skills. So Dr. Francis and I work together on developmental education because our college coordinating board has changed the scoring rubric. So we want to make sure when students see their advisor that because the changes have happened from the state, that we are properly placing our students in the correct developmental education courses. So in this online environment, it's so hard to grapple information because it's like putting in Google, how do I do this? And you get all this enormous information.
Thousands and thousands.
Right. So we hone it in by working together throughout the year. Whenever there's changes, we do a video like this and we inform the advising community of what's going on.
Yeah. And I think I just have to point out that I've noticed that your advising community is not just here in Corpus Christi, it's around the globe. You have been part of decision-making processes that have to do with advising all over the world. So that's truly amazing. So we really enjoyed hearing about your career, and I'm most excited because I know you're making an impact in our career, but I just want to ask you stories about how you're being a hero, okay? So we're calling you the PowerUp hero of intentionality. Like, I had to say that slowly because, like, can you all say intentionality? I challenge you. If you're watching right now, say the word intentionality while you're doing something else. It's kind of a difficult word to say. So I want you to unpack for us, why are we calling you the PowerUp hero of intentionality?
I just had to pause because I love that word, being intentional and practicing intentionality. So we've been in COVID. I'm going to say the word. We've been sheltered at home. And so anything that we do that's outside of this box, whether it be on Zoom, whether it be on Teams, has to be intentional. So for me, what that means is if I want to stay in contact with my family, I don't have any family here in Corpus. I have to be intentional by reaching out. So that means I have to call them on the WhatsApp app. I don't want to just hear your voice or see your text or see your post. I want to see you face to face because I still want to feel connected. So I had to be intentional in staying in contact with family and friends. If I want to elevate myself, I have to intentionally put myself in spaces that are unfamiliar to me. Just like this space is very unfamiliar for me because I'm used to hearing other people's story, not people hearing my own. So being intentional by surrounding myself with people that are amazing, like you, Lisa, and you, Megan, and saying, how can I learn and grow from you ladies? But also, how can we collaborate and how can we empower each other, right? And so that's intentional, putting myself in spaces. But the last thing is being intentional with that inner voice. What is your inner voice telling you? And being able to move on that voice and not being fearful.
Oh, and fear. I'm going to write fear down because, so listening to your inner voice and then not being fearful.
Yes, I wrote inner voice. That was key for me.
Yeah. Okay. So I wrote, she's the power up hero of intentionality. We're hacking you. Okay. So this is that's going on right now. So if you want to be the power up hero of intentionality, you need to be committed to your family. So you need to reach out, and not just of a social media post. You need to reach out and really, truly be connected with them. So if they're not there, use technology. WhatsApp is a good one. Elevate. So be comfortable being uncomfortable. Oh, I got to bring this book in. So there's this guy called Emmanuel Acho, and he wrote this book called he called it Uncomfortable Conversations with a Black Man. I really think it should have been called Uncomfortable Conversations with Emmanuel Acho, because I don't know whether he can speak for all Black men, but I think it's a really great book. And then Inner Voice. Megan, you talked about inner voice, right?
Yeah, and the reason that inner voice jumped out to me, and then Lisa, you talked about being comfortable with being uncomfortable, and I think those two really do go together. If you really want to be a power-up hero for other people, then you have to be willing to let go of all those things that make you feel uncomfortable when it comes to people.
Yes.
So many times we put up these roadblocks, we put up these walls, and somebody opens up to you, and all of a sudden you're like, I don't know what to do. What do I do? And instead of powering them up, instead of being their hero, you move away.
Yes.
And
because we don't know, because we've not been in that situation before.
Yes.
I know what you're saying, Megan, because I think, our brains are wired to want the comfort. And so what you're saying, Megan, is if we want to be like Leticia, a power-up hero of intentionality, which I'm saying slowly because I can't say that word properly, we have to listen to our inner voice, right? But also be uncomfortable by elevating ourselves, by being I love this. It's like DNA. Like all of it is intertwined, right? So like all the words are like coming together. I love this. I love this conversation we're having. And Megan, so continue, Megan. Tell us more about how.
Yeah, and I just think that you hit the nail on the head, Lisa. If you really want to reach people, then you have to listen to that inner voice. Whenever you get that first instinct, if that person is crying, if that person is mad, if that person has something going on, the first instinct, the first thing your inner voice tells you to do, you must be intentional and follow through on that thing. Whether it's giving them a hug, whether it's putting your hand on their shoulder, whatever that inner voice is telling you to do, you must not walk away from that. You have to be uncomfortable and let all of those things go and listen to the inner voice. As soon as she said inner voice, that is exactly what came to my mind. I think so many people right now are touchy about feelings, and they don't want to step on toes, and they don't want to do this, they don't want to do that. But at the end of the day, it's that inner voice that gets you to the people. And then hopefully, right, we hope that trickles down and that person reaches somebody else and so on and so forth. But if you're not listening to that first inner voice, that first gut instinct, if you're ignoring it, then you will never win with people.
You'll never win, and you will never be the power-up hero of intentionality. So those of y'all who are watching, who just tuned in, we are celebrating Leticia Wilson. She is our power-up hero of intentionality, and she's giving us the playbook on how we can become power-up heroes of intentionality. So we unpacked family, reaching out to your community, not just through social media, but also just reaching out to them as people. We unpacked elevating yourself by becoming uncomfortable. And then listening to your inner voice. You just heard Megan unpack what listening to your inner voice is all about. And I absolutely love that, Megan. Thank you. And then being fearless, I guess. And so I want to reel more onto that fear. So I'm bringing you to just unpack for me fear because, so I've heard fear in two different ways, okay? So, fear everything and run, right? So like literally just like everything comes up and you run, right? Or face everything and rise. right? So obviously I'm thinking you're thinking about fear being the thing that you rise, right? You rise to it. You don't face it and go, oh, which is what we would normally do, right? Megan's talking about listening to your inner voice, and your inner voice would cower, right?
Yes.
So talk to me through how, if I was a power up hero of intentionality, how would I use fear to be to help me?
Thank you for that question. Fear. So fear in my power up hero superpower is seeing it, right? So I see that barrier, but I can't see beyond the barrier, right? But as a hero, when I see that barrier, I'm not going around it. I'm moving through it.
Okay.
I'm moving through it, because that's when the learning happens. When you're comfortable being uncomfortable, you walk through that uncomfortable, and then you connect with people. Or when you're taking a chance on a job in a city that you don't even know where it is on the map until you look at the map, that's when you have growth, because you're putting yourself in a situation where you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know anybody from a can of paint, but you're taking the opportunity. So it's moving past that fear to open up to opportunities. So that's what going past that fear means.
I have a question. So you talk about moving past the fear. I think where people get stuck, and maybe I'm talking for myself, is where do you find the courage? Where does the courage come from to move past the fear?
Megan, I love that. So the courage, which I don't always have, I want to be completely transparent with everybody that's watching right now. I don't always have courage. Like the Wiz says, the rendition of The Wizard of Oz, the lion wanted courage, right? I'm a mean old lion, but then when somebody cowered at him, he was frightened. And so that's why he had to go to the Wiz to build up that courage. So I don't always have that. But when I do, let's say 80% of the time when I do have courage, what that looks like, and it says in that inner talk says, if I fail, it's okay. I'll just move on to the next. Or I'll try again. That's what courage means to me, is saying, what's the worst that can happen? And if that happens, will it kill me? Will it harm me or my family? And if the answer is no, why aren't you moving on it?
Ooh.
Why?
I love it. You just challenged everybody.
Yes.
So if there's something that anybody who's watching right now wants to do and they're fearful of it, then they need to just go ahead and do it, right?
As long as it's not harming themselves or others.
Yes.
We want to say, what's the worst that can happen? And even if you have to write it down, sometimes I have to write it down. Like I have to think, okay, am I just being fearful? Am I just in my own head?
Yes.
Or let me write down what's the worst thing that can happen. And then say, okay, I've called out fear in the face.
Yes.
Now I'm going to walk through it.
You're going to walk through it. I love it. So I'm just going to bring on just a book that you guys can pick up. So there's this amazing woman, Gabriella Oettingen. She wrote a book called Whoop. And so she has her process, which is to actually power up your failures. And if you pick up, we have a brand new Power Up yearbook that you can pick up. It actually has a section in here on how to power up your goals. And I love the fact that in her process, when you read that book, she actually has a part where it's Whoop, which stands for what do you want, right? What do you want the outcome to be? But what obstacles do you think you're going to face? So she has a process where you're actually thinking through, what are the obstacles I'm going to face so that when they occur, I knew that was going to happen. Perfect. This is part of the plan. So I want you to pick up that book if you haven't. It really has actually changed my outlook as it relates to thinking about my goals. Don't just think about what's going to happen in terms of the success you want, like Oprah, call me. But the point here is that you also want to think about, if Oprah doesn't call, what are you going to do, right? Oprah's not everything, right? So let's figure out what direction are you going to go if you don't get that phone call, if you don't get that opportunity. So I think personally, that's such a great message that you just shared, which is the obstacle, right? The obstacle is the way. I think that's another book, right? The obstacle is the way. Okay, so just for a little fun right now, I want to take a little break, okay? And as we take that little break, we're actually going to take a break with our very own Leticia. And so, Leticia, I'm going to bring you on to just take us on a little break. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's go.
It's going to be amazing.
Hey, y'all. Coming back at you. I'm going to talk about what we've been doing in this COVID-19 space that I hope that we continue, even though this time has been very difficult with the amount just of layers of trauma, but there's some light at the end of this tunnel. I feel like that we are being more empathetic with each other. These conversations have been deeper. They're not just about how's work, what are you eating today, what's going on in your weather, how do you feel about the political climate.
Hey everybody, can you believe it's September already? And yes, I'm out walking, looking left, looking right. I just wanted to give you a message about, as we approach the latter part of the year, it's going to be so important that you keep your mind mentally stimulated. As you can see, it's a little partly sunny today. And I said partly sunny instead of partly cloudy. So what are you doing to keep yourself uplifted in these months that may seem a little bit gloomy with the skies? Or, hey y'all, good morning. Take off this mask so I can hear you. Just got finished with my walk today. And as you can see, it rained. It rained. You can see it on these lovely yellow flowers. Sometimes it rains on life, you know. Not every day is a day full of butterflies and rainbows, but I got reminded today that you can see the rainbow amidst the storm. As I was walking on a very short walk today, I literally saw a rainbow. I was encouraged by the sunshine that is making my glasses fog up. So I was encouraged, even though sometimes Hey y'all, do you know how it feels after you work out? You have this sense of release. You have this sense of, I burned some calories. And then you have this sense of, I'm going to conquer the day. So that's how I feel right now. Just got finished with my workout. So I encourage you, even though today's Labor Day, get out and walk. Do something. Hey y'all, out here walking. It's actually cool right now in South Texas. So I decided to take a walk on this Saturday. But as I was listening to Pastor Stephen, he just hit me hard with this message. He said, if we count our complaints like we count our carbs. Oh boy, did you hear that? So count your complaints just like you count your carbs. That is food for thought, y'all. So I gotta just shit. Can I talk to y'all just for a moment? I would have never wore this color lipstick 10, 15 years ago. I was always told that these big lips, don't bring attention to them. Just wear some gloss. How times have changed. Now I paint on any bright color I find to accentuate my full lips or my cheekbones. But today I'm going to talk about sister love. I was in a meeting today and one of my sisters called me Black Vanna, and my heart just melted because that was a compliment to me. Not only did she compliment me on one-on-one conversations, but she complimented me in front of others. She empowered me. I also had another sister. I shared with her what I cooked tonight because I threw down in the kitchen, y'all. I made some pork ribs, some collard greens. I made some cornbread, and I was feeling myself. So I sent my picture out to a couple of my people, a couple of my friends. And one of my sisters said, I hope you were appreciated. And then another one of my sisters sent me these beautiful earrings. Not for anything. Not for a birthday, not for a holiday, just cause. Y'all, we got to do that with each other. No matter what race, no matter what's going on in our lives, we have to love on each other as my sisters. Those small interactions, whether they be in word or deed, they mean a lot. So let's encourage each other. That was just, it filled me up. That sisterly love filled me up. So I'm encouraging you. Show love to your sister. They don't have to be related to you. You don't even have to see them every day. But if we all show love to each other in our small gestures, we can make this world a better place.
Wow. So if you're joining us right now, you need to know that you have just tuned in to the Power Up Hero Show, and we are joined by the most amazing co-host, Megan Isasi. And Megan Isasi is here with me to unpack the amazingness that is our Power Up Hero of intentionality. Intentionality. She's truly amazing. She's so amazing that I can't even say what her Power Up Hero sense is. But one of the things I want to celebrate right now is the fact that she actually shares these chronicles of Leticia Wilson all over YouTube. I am just empowered to let you know about them because she shares these really short nuggets that can just power you up. So if you haven't done this already, I need you to go on YouTube and I need you to subscribe to Leticia Wilson's YouTube channel because you're just going to be getting a hit. So it's like every time she posts, you get this hit of dopamine, of awesomeness. And so I'm just powered up because Leticia, I love your YouTube channel. You're truly amazing. And I can't wait for our entire Power Up community to engage with the work you're doing. But before we go any further, I want you to know that if you're watching this show, this is truly a celebration. This is a celebration of the amazing woman who is in front of you right now. I'm going to bring her front and center. And as I speak about her, I need you to know that she's not only our Power Up Hero of intentionality. We have multiple people in our community who have said that their careers have been successful because of her. We have multiple people who have said that they have been encouraged because of her, which is why I call her my master motivator. She's amazing. And I said this earlier, but every Zoom meeting I was in, every virtual meeting I was in, this 2020, which has been a really difficult year for us, she was in the room literally. And Megan, I'm sure you'll agree, just like this session right now, she makes you want to just start dancing, you know? It's like, what's going on? So we are celebrating Leticia Wilson. as a power-up hero of intentionality.
Thank you for that. Oh my goodness, it was kind of crazy to see my YouTube channel. I just decided, hey, sometimes I need to be poured into. So I'm just going to use my phone and start. Yeah. And it's crazy what has evolved since then because I went through that fear.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you. So here is your YouTube channel. So your YouTube channel has so many videos. So I need everybody watching right now to go find you on YouTube. But can I tell you a few other things I found, which was so much fun to find? Who is this lady right here? Who's that?
Let me hold my mule. Okay, so I also love to bike ride. So I've bike ride. In 2020, we know that was a rough year. So my release was bike riding. And so I did over almost 500 miles last year in 2020 on my road bike. And no, it's not motorized. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
So that's one of the races pre-COVID that I entered.
Oh my gosh. So I found this information about you because, can I just say something? So I'm going to bring Conquer the Coast on. And Conquer the Coast is like a 66-mile ride.
No, I didn't do that one. I didn't do that one. They have 3 different ones. They have like a 5, a 10, and the 6. I did the middle.
Okay. Yeah. Well, because I was like, girl, like, you look like you're amazing. You look like you had fun. And I'm like, I think I'd be dead if I did 66 miles of anything, right? Except for driving. 66 miles of sitting in the car with my husband driving. But I think what I want to mention here is that this is one thing I didn't know about you. You know, I think many people may view you as an educational professional and they don't know that you are a road cyclist. Like, wow, I'm going to bring you back on. Megan, you're a road cyclist.
You are much better than me, Leticia. I bought a bike in 2020, and let me tell you, it wasn't a good experience. So I'm going to need to partner with you. And you're going to show me how to do this right, because I was like crash and burn for sure. So you and me, we're going to do this right.
Yes, come on. I love it because it's a way that we can exercise, and I would love to ride with you in this life journey and on the bike.
It seems like exercise is probably a really integral part of who you are and this intentionality and this piece that you almost seem to have about you, because in all your YouTube videos, you were walking, you were outside, you were walking, you were interacting with the world. And so maybe tell us just a snippet about that. How does that affect how you move in the world? How does that affect your mind? How does that affect the things that you adopt in your life, like intentionality and hope?
Oh, so I love that question, Megan. I'm so grateful. So one thing is my mantra in my life is don't talk about it, be about it. Mm-hmm. So if you tell people, hey, you should work out, hey, you should do this, but I don't see you doing it, I'm like, should I take your advice? But it's also my way of releasing whatever inner thoughts or a stress reliever or getting that fresh air into my system. And to be honest with you, when I look at my Apple Watch, I get excited when I see that calorie loss too. So that means I can come home and eat what I want a little bit more because I've worked out. So it has multiple reasons, but also the intentionality in that is that I know in my family, since I am from many different backgrounds, that I have predispositions to diabetes, to cardiovascular problems, and to anxiety and depression. So how can I ward off those things with what I'm intentionally engaging in? And that's physical activity. That's one of the layers that I can be intentional in my everyday life to ward off some of those health disparities.
I love it. I
do too. And I even noticed that what she was listening to was important to her walk and important to her bike ride, because you had mentioned Pastor Stephen and you quoted something he had said. And I said, even the things that she's listening to has a purpose in her walk that day. So I think that is integral in this whole intentionality theme.
Megan, you are so right. I think especially as women, we're so prone to pour out. If we have children, we pour out to our children. If we're married or we have a partner, we pour out into our partners. If we work, we're pouring out to our employees. But who's pouring into us? So in the morning, I don't look at my news feed, LinkedIn, anything else. I study the word of God in the morning before the sun comes up. And the first thing I do when I wake up is good morning. Thank you for this day. And then when I'm walking, because that's my time, it's not being selfish. I think a lot of people think that, oh, you're being selfish by taking that time. No, I'm not. I'm pouring into my cup so you can have the best of me throughout the day. And so when I'm listening to people, you always, Pastor T.D. Jakes talks about you have people in your life that feed you and that people that need you. And so what feeds me is the people that are positive role models, like Dr. Eric Thomas, who I've never met from a can of paint, but I know him because he has a lot of YouTubes and he went from his GED to a PhD, or like Pastor Stephen Frederick and then Pastor T.D. Jakes, and even local people I listen to as well. And so while I'm walking, burning that calories, pushing back those health disparities, I'm also having people feed me because that's what I need to fuel me. So,
and you are what you listen to.
That's so true.
Right?
That's so
Whatever
true.
is entering your brain feeds into your subconscious, and then that's what you're hearing all day, right?
All day.
So I love that. Okay, so I know we can be here all day talking, but I want to unpack more things. So there's just one question I want to ask you, and then we'll go into what I call the fast 5-finger favorites. So the first I want to mention that you've been able to accomplish so many things. So just can you tell us, how do you juggle all these multiple commitments? So before we go any further, I just want to mention that, first of all, you're an educator, you're an advisor, you're a higher educational leader. You are advising on certification courses. You are a writer. You are going through your doctoral program right now. You are a biker. I think last year you said you biked over almost 500 miles.
Yep.
Wow. And you walked over 600 miles. I saw that somewhere. Wow. How do you do all this? I mean, how are you? And then you have this amazing YouTube channel. Like, how do you manage all these commitments?
Lisa, thank you for that. And it's amazing to kind of hear that, because one thing I'm really big on is counting your wins. And I know, Lisa, you talk about that too, is celebrating your wins. So I don't realize I'm doing it, but how do I manage all of my tasks is I set boundaries. Like I said in the morning, that morning is my time, folks. My time to be with the Lord, reading the word of God, but also my time to be active. So then the latter part of my day, I have everything put in pockets so it could have 100% of me. So work hours, and then family hours where I'm cooking, and then we're sitting at the table, and then just Netflix. I'm not doing anything that requires work. I'm just vegging out so that I can
Sorry,
sleep
you just
well.
said Netflix. I have to recognize. Yes, thank you, Netflix, for existing.
Yes.
I mean, I almost feel like Netflix has now started representing. Like, I feel like I can go to Netflix and watch anything I want, not just anything shows. Just even be with family, it feels like. It's crazy.
And then we get mad when the episode ends. We're like, no, the new series coming.
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
No, that's how I manage, really, is I set boundaries.
Yeah.
Because it's so easy, especially since a lot of us are working at home, to say, ooh, I just need to check that one more email.
Yeah.
Ooh, I just need to reply to that one more person. So I actually, on my phone, I set up downtime. So at the end of my work day, I can't go on that particular app. Because I know me, I would sneak in there and say, I'm going to just check it real quick. No, you have to cut it off, because you train people to treat you the way that you want to be treated. So if you answer an email at 9, 10 o'clock at night, that's going to be the expectation. Yeah. So you have to set those expectations and those boundaries so you don't burn out. That's why a lot of people were like, I am Zoomed out, I am Teams out, because it's partly their own fault because they didn't set those boundaries.
Yeah.
So I'm really big on that.
I love it. And that's probably also the same way that you do your goals and everything. You just plan for it. You plan everything as we're going. And I love it. So we're calling you the PowerUp hero of intentionality. What do you think your superpower is? Like, if you were like, you know, when we talk about Superman, his superpower is he flies, right? He can see through the walls. Like, what is your superpower? What is your cape? What does it have? What is it?
My cape would say, my superpower, Leticia Wilson, is hope. Hope is my superpower. And it's very simple, but very complicated at the same time, because hope to me means having faith on the things that are unseen.
Mm.
And we are sitting in that space right now. And there's a hope theory by Snyder, who's a theorist. And he talks about people that have low hope. I talk about this on my YouTube channel. People that have low hope, even before they begin, they're defeated. They're defeated in their inner self-talk. They're defeated on meeting a challenge or even writing it down. But people that have high hope, when they encounter a challenge that we talked about or an obstacle, they say, okay, I see it, but you know what? I'm going to work through it and walk through it. So you have to have that high hope mentality, but also I don't want people to get hope mixed up with toxic positivity. There's a difference. There's a difference because people think, oh, that means you're just happy all the time, Leticia. No, I'm human. I have days where I'm just like, I do not want to get up. These covers are feeling good, especially on these chilly days. I don't want to go nowhere. I don't want to put on any, I just want to stay in my pajamas and watch Netflix and drink, apple juice all day. No, hope says that I'm going to rise up. I'm going to get out. I'm going to get that vitamin D. I'm going to study that word. I'm going to make my day count. So that's what hope means to me.
Oh, I love it. I feel like I receive it. If I'm using Leticia verbiage there. I receive it. I receive that need to have hope in your life, right? Sometimes when you think about hope as being a strength in your life, it's really about making sure that you have positive expectations of what's to come. And, I think one of the things that they say about people who may be suffering with mental health is the fact that they're not seeing any light at the end of the tunnel, right? There's no hope, like whatever, like it's never going to end, or I'm never going to get over this. So I have no hope in my life. I love that. I love that you said that. So as we're going through this, I want to just lighten it up a little bit, and I'm going to move into our fast 5 finger favorites, all right? And what we're going to do is we're going to ask you 5 questions, okay?
Okay.
We're going to ask you really fast these 5 questions, and you're going to tell us the answers. And this is how we're going to unpack the true superhero that you are, okay?
Okay.
So... fast 5 finger favorites as the power-up hero of intentionality. What is your favorite book, Leticia?
The Miseducation of a Negro by Carter G. Woodson.
That was too fast. Okay.
That was really fast, actually. You're good.
I'm
okay.
in school, so I'm reading a lot. Just
I was doing ready too. She was like bouncing around.
By The Miseducation of a Negro by Carter G. Woodson.
Wow. Okay.
Woodson.
So I'm going to get that book. You know which book I'm actually almost finished reading right now is How to Be an Anti-Racist.
Ooh, I have that one. I have it. I purchased it, but I haven't tapped into it yet.
Yeah. It's really good. And it has a journal and everything. And I don't even know whether it's really about being an anti-racist. I think it's about being a human, and almost like everything he's saying, I'm like, okay, and that's just what a human needs to do anyway, Yes. Like this book could be written and then like rewritten with different titles. I don't know. I just feel like it's such a good book. It's a book about being a human, if that makes sense. I don't know.
But sometimes common sense is always not that common, right? That's what
everything he's saying, I'm thinking, okay.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah. Like it's just a good book. Okay. Next is, what is your favorite movie or something to watch?
Ooh. I like so many genres. So I'm going to say 2 movies that I really love that kind of stand out. Imitation of Life, one of my favorite movies, which is on the kind of deep side. So be ready to have a tissue if you watch Imitation of Life. The other favorite movie is kind of like my fun side, because I love having fun, is School Days. And that's with a Z, by Spike Lee.
Okay.
That's one of my favorite movies. So those are 2 of my favorite movies for various reasons.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so I've not watched any of those. Have you watched those?
No, I haven't seen them. So
I'll be
ready
to my trouble board.
Or maybe we should have a movie night.
We should watch. I think you can have watch parties now, right?
Yeah.
We can have power-up watch parties. How fun would that be? Okay, let's talk about what your favorite song is or something to listen to.
Ooh, okay. So let me just talk through this like I'm on The Millionaire, right? So like I shared with you, my father used to be a DJ in addition to serving in the Army. And so I love techno music. I love R&B music. I love gospel music. I love trap music. I love South African music. It just depends on what kind of mood I'm in, what music I'm vibing to. Like I said, every morning, because I'm in scripture and I'm walking, I typically listen to gospel music. So one of the songs that I absolutely love, it doesn't matter what mood I'm in, is this song. I believe it's by Tasha Cobbs, and the title is He Knows My Name.
Oh, yes. I love that song.
You know that song?
I do.
I love that song. Love that song.
I don't know that song.
You don't know it?
No. So now you're making
okay. That's okay. You don't know it yet. You don't know it yet.
But just listen to anything Tasha Cobbs and it's like amazing.
Yeah. I was going to say, I know a lot of Tasha Cobbs, but I don't know that one. So let's see. Hopefully there's no ad on this. This probably is going to be an ad. So then it's going to pull up an ad. But I'm trying to pull up the song just real quick so we can see if we can hear it. Hold on one second. I'm going to skip the ad.
It just puts me in a space. It puts me in a space of gratitude.
He knows my name. Yes, he knows my name. He knows my name. Yes, he knows my name. And oh, how he walks with me. Yes, oh, how he talks with me. Yeah. And oh, how he tells me that I am his own. And oh, how you comfort me. And oh, how you counsel me. It still amazes me.
Yes, it does every day, Jesus.
That I am your friend.
I was working so hard behind the scenes to make that happen.
So now I pour out my heart to you. Here in your presence, I am made new.
Yes, yes, hallelujah.
I love it. Oh my gosh.
Ladies and gentlemen, the essence of who Leticia Wilson is right there in a song, okay?
I know. Okay, so first of all, I always like to get the essence of the person in the room. So I'm glad you say Tasha Cobbs because anything Tasha Cobbs is worthy of this show.
Yes.
So I love that. So let's move very fast into what is your favorite quote? Fast 5 finger favorites.
Oh, favorite quote. Sorry, I'm still in that mode of that he knows my name because that means so much to me. Because when Jesus knows my name, he knows who I am, not what I look like on the outside, not what I'm afraid of, not what I'm walking through, but he knows me individually, not even what I am right now, but what I'm going to be. And he believes in me. So Whew. My favorite quote is, "To thine own self be true."
A time-old favorite. One that you hear really, really often, but I think in terms of Leticia Wilson, "To thy own be true." I think we just witnessed that right here and now, especially in that song. And even now asking her these questions, like, I can see that you're having a hard time just letting go. But thank you for sharing that vulnerable piece with us, because I think there's so many people who are probably watching right now that admire that vulnerability and that admire the fact that you can be true to yourself in that way. And so, listening to that inner voice and just letting go and not worrying about what anybody's going to say or think, I think is a message that a lot of people need to hear right now. And thank you for sharing that with us.
I love it. I love it. And now to round out our Fast Five Finger favorites. High five, Megan. Leticia Wilson. If you had the perfect morning, if you threw those covers off and there was nothing in your way, how would you power up in the morning? How would you wake up to power up?
Ooh. How would I wake up to power up? The first thing is actually what I do every morning is, even before I brush my teeth, and your mouth is dry, you don't want to talk to anybody. The first thing I do is roll both of my legs off the side of the bed and rest my feet on the ground. And I give gratitude to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. And I say, thank you, Jesus, for this day, because I am grateful. And I speak it into existence. Today is going to be a good day, and I am grateful for it. So when I wake up in the morning, I want the devil to say, oh, snap, here she goes again. Oh, no. She's already conquering the day with how she wakes up. Let me go somewhere else. So that's the first thing I want to do, is wake up with my 2 feet, even before audible words, and I get the crud out of my eye, and I say, thank you, Jesus. The next thing that I do, like I do in the morning, is doing some type of activity that makes me sweat, and then being able to just be in touch with the people that fill me up. So that means it's not about work, it's not about schoolwork, but it's about spending quality time, because Lisa, that's my love language, is quality time. So this right now is doing me justice, because I get to spend time with my Power Up community. I get to spend time with my friends and family virtually, but you are filling me up, because that's my quality of time. So that would be my Power Up morning, would be the gratitude, shaming the devil because I am up and I'm ready to conquer the day, and also working out because I need to get that, physical activity, but then also being connected to the people that I love and that I cherish.
Ooh.
I'm tired just listening to you. Whew.
I love it. Oh, but it almost makes perfect sense to why you are a Power Up hero of intentionality. You have a process. And so I wrote these notes down. So if I'm going to wake up to power up like you, our Power Up hero of intentionality, right? Who our superpower we just unpacked is hope, right? So if that's what I want in my life, I need to wake up with gratitude. And then I need to affirm myself. I need to say, today is going to be a great day. Whoever you are, today's a great day. Don't get in my way. And then I need to sweat, right? So I need to exercise. And then I need to connect, right? So I almost feel like you've merged the connect and the quality time, because you connect with us through YouTube. So I think when you're doing your exercise, are you like, that's when you film your YouTube channel stuff?
Yes, literally.
Okay, because
I actually talk to people in the past.
Tired, right?
What'd you say?
You're always sweating or tired when you're doing your YouTube. So that's probably when you do it, right? So now I'm unpacking it. It's in the morning.
Yes. It is in the morning. But the beauty about connecting is just not connecting. I have met total strangers, because we all usually walk that path together. And that's also about my life coach business. I want to walk that life journey together with you.
Yes,
but I wave at people because I have a mask on. We find different ways to communicate. Just like in this virtual space, we connect on Zoom. I communicate with people with my eyebrows. Good morning.
Yes.
Or I do good morning. And now other people, they know me. And so they're like, good morning, or good morning, or eyebrows. So we're still able to connect.
I love it. You know, there's a book. Okay, so I pulled her up right now. So her name is Barbara Fredrickson. She wrote this book called Love 2.0. And when I read this book the first time, I thought, oh my gosh, this is what I've been thinking about. But she has it in this amazing book. So if you want to learn more about the love that Leticia is talking about, Barbara Fredrickson talks about how there's different types of love. Love 1.0 is the love that you need to have for self. So you start with yourself, right? So you have your love 1.0. Then your love 2.0, right, is love to your family, your people who you know. So your family, maybe even some of your friends that you know so well, like Megan's my family, like love to them. And then love 3.0 is love to the universe, right? So the person you're walking past while you're doing your morning walk, the person who's checking out your groceries, the person who's doing whatever, your Uber Eats delivery, whatever it is, love 3.0 to them. And how she talks about how that energy, actually it's scientific, it radiates in our universe. And if we all power up our love, like it makes a difference. Anyway, I just wanted to share that nugget because you talked about love for people you don't even know, right?
Yes!
Raising your eyebrows to love 3.0 to the universe.
I have to tell you a quick story about that.
Okay.
There's this lady that I've passed now for over 8 months. Now I know her name. If she's watching this, Adele, I love you. So she is a yoga instructor. We pass every day. We actually stopped, 6 feet apart, sometimes 8 feet apart because I'm not playing with COVID. So we're apart. And she was like, I pass you all the time. We drummed up a conversation. We've exchanged emails. We even did yoga and stretching at the end because she used to be an instructor. And we have connected from just interacting and waving and acknowledging each other's presence. Now we have a relationship and a rapport.
I love it. I love it.
Leticia,
go ahead.
You know what that makes me think of? I learned last weekend, if you want to win with people, people cannot be an inconvenience to you. That's what that reminds me of. That's what that reminded me of. People cannot be an inconvenience to you if you want to get to them. And it sounds like you made a really great connection with Adele because you don't allow people to be an inconvenience. They're not an inconvenience to you, huh?
Because I think sometimes I can get so caught up in whatever I'm listening to and I'm just trucking along, but I like to acknowledge people, hey, and keep going. Yeah. And from that has formulated a connection, which I think we need so much, especially in this space, is connecting.
Mm-hmm.
So
we do. There's something to be said about feeling heard, feeling seen even, right? And I think I have to shout out to Angie Walker. We know So Angie Walker talks about how faith without works is dead. Thank you so much for joining us on the show, Angie. We love you. And we appreciate you. Fellow higher ed professional, right? For you.
Sister Angie. Now, there's this backstory about that. Sister Angie and I used to be on the Soul Runners when I used to go to Corpus Christi Christian Fellowship. Okay. And so I ran with Dr. Carlene Lynn, who was one of your PowerUp guests as well. Yeah. And we all ran together when I first moved here to Corpus. So that's my sister. Love you, Angie.
I know. So she was watching the show right now. Okay, so to wrap up the show, just to ask you, just in terms of the heroic journey, right? I know, and I hate to bring this up because sometimes, it's difficult, right? But I know that when I watch a superhero show and I watch a show about a person who's being great, there's always a point in their life where there's a challenge, where there's an obstacle, and there's something they have to overcome. There's some unimaginable mountain. There's some hole they fell into and they're climbing out of it. So I want you to think through your life and maybe think through, you being the person you are today that we are all aspiring to be like. Maybe what challenge have you faced and how did you overcome that? How have you overcome an obstacle to become our power up hero?
That's a really good question. I had to pause. So a challenge, and like I said, I'm very humble, which means that I know that I have a lifelong journey ahead of me. So this is something I'm constantly still working on. A challenge that I have to overcome is feeling like I'm muted. So I'm not talking about the mute on your screen. I've prayed for opportunities where I get to sit at the table. Now I'm at those tables. But I had this fear of, what if I say the wrong thing? What if somebody that's of a higher caliber or my title says something and they think that my idea is not well thought out? Or what if they think that I'm being rude? You know, and we have that mindset sometimes as women too, right? We're taught to be very demure, very poised, say please and thank you, and I'm sorry, almost to a point of distinction, right? And so I had to overcome that feeling like I was muted, because the only person that was muting myself was me. I was muting myself because I was at those tables that I prayed to be at. I was in those circles that I've always wanted to be a part of, but I wasn't letting my voice being heard. And that's why I wear purple today, because I had one of my mentors tell me, don't be a shrinking violet. And I'm happy to tell him, Dr. Todd, I love you, bro. I am no longer that shrinking violet, which means since I am at that table, I have the commitment to speak up. Not in a boastful way, not in a callous way, but in a way that's filled with care and compassion, but also integrity and truth. And so I am unmuting myself, and it's still something that I'm working on, but that's how I have overcome those challenges of no longer being muted.
Oh my gosh. That sounds like a TED Talk. And I have the title for you. Unmute yourself. Oh! Can I just write that down right now, because we have a TED Talk?
Yes!
Coming up.
That's actually one of my goals. Oop, I said that out loud.
No, it's
That's
okay.
one of my goals.
Hey, you're in the power room right now. We are going to make this happen. Oh my gosh. Unmute yourself. Oh my God.
And I can't wait. I really hope that you do fulfill this goal, and I know you will. And I can't wait, because I think you are so spot on that there are a lot of women out there, especially young women, right? Yes. Entering into the workforce, entering into college. And you're spot on when you say that we're taught, you know, to be reserved, to be graceful, to be not so loud and not so boisterous, and watch what you say, and that can come off the wrong way. And I think this whole unmute yourself thing is really going to teach us how to do it right, because maybe we weren't taught how to do it right, and instead we just mute ourselves completely, which you have nailed it is not the way to go. And so I cannot wait for you to unpack that and teach us how to unmute ourselves.
I love that, Megan. Like, literally, I feel like maybe sometimes our cultural, maybe our gender norms put us in a box where you feel like you can't even, I think sometimes, celebrate yourself, right? So like if you do something and you win an award, or you're like, we were talking about Kawana earlier backstage, you know, like we have to learn how to become unmuted, like tell people, celebrate it, and be your best, I guess, advocate for yourself. I love it. I love that. Oh my goodness.
Thank you.
So one of the things I wanted to talk on before we end the show, I feel like we've gone on for a while, but are you having fun? I feel like we've taken up so much of your time.
I love this. Like I said, my love language is quality time. So I'm just filled up right now. I'm like, bring it. I love this space.
We're way past the calendar invite that I sent you. So thank you for indulging us, but you have so much to share. We definitely have to bring you back on the show. But one of the questions that I wanted to ask you is, you know, we're really talking about you seeing this year. We talked last week, actually, about you seeing this year, this closeout of 2020, and then moving into 2021 as a reflection of what are you going to do now, right? So I want to ask you to think even further than that, right? So I want you to think 5 to 10 years from now, if you were to look at Leticia Wilson and talk to Leticia Wilson 5 to 10 years from now, what do you see?
I see me 5-10 years from now walking in my unapologetic truth. And that is in multiple layers: personal, professional, and spiritual. And along that journey, hitting those milestones that I want, that is not privy to everybody, because I don't believe that you should share your goals with everybody. That's an honor, right? So you should keep that, what I believe, you should keep that close to your heart. And instead of telling people, show people. And so that's where I want to be in those 3 layers, not just in my professional life, but my personal life, my spiritual life, and just walking through it with my shoulders parallel to the ground, but also bringing others with me, So I'm just surrounded by people that are doing the same.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And so, Megan, I don't know if you want to chime in with me, but I want to unpack Leticia, what she said for us. And I think one of the things I just want to point out here is you have to have gratitude in your life. You have to be able to affirm your day. So say what your day is going to bring you, right? So make sure you say that you are going to have an amazing day if that's what you want, right? Make sure you exercise. Make sure you have quality time. And last but not least, I want to say you must be unmuted. Oh my goodness. I love that. I love the fact that you have to have an unmuted, I guess, aspect of how you see your life. You have to see yourself as remarkable and be able to share that with the world, if that makes sense. What do you think about that, Megan?
I think what really touched me at the end here was when she was talking about her goals. Whenever you listen to people talk about their goals, they're usually some sort of status, something that they can buy, something that they're going to walk into, like a job or education. But what Leticia was talking about was who she was as a person 5 to 10 years from now and what that looks like, and walking into her full potential and her full self. And, you know, when we think about these goals, it's hard to think about them because they're not as tangible as a normal goal, as the more common goals come.
And you don't know what the world's going to bring you. So
exactly.
What you're saying, Megan. So instead of us saying that we're going to accomplish this, I'm going to write my book, I'm going to be on this, who are you going to be as a person? Like, how are you showing up to whatever the situation is? How are you showing up as an individual? Intentionally. Ah! Can I just drop the mic? I wish I dropped your PowerUp thing on there. Yeah, it all makes sense. It all makes sense. It's coming together. Love it, love it, love it. So let's just go ahead and unpack one of the things that I think is exciting for me, because I really am excited to work as the senior curator of diversity, equity, and inclusion for an amazing company called Open Sesame. And part of my role is really to truly unpack what it's like to have a diverse workforce, how to create equitable opportunities for everybody, right? So we can all rise up together, right? Which is what PowerUp stands for, providing opportunities where everyone rises up. But the goal here is about inclusivity. And one of the things you've done, Leticia, is I want to bring up your Del Mar College work you've done with the library, where you've really taken a heavy hand into social justice. In fact, one of the things that I'm just proud of is that you are determined to really see the work that you're doing as an impact of the legacy, right? So the legacy life you're leaving is creating a clearer path for other people to see how they can be successful in their lives. So I think we lost Leticia, but there she is. So I apologize, Leticia, but one of the things that I did want to speak about is I want people to know that you have this resource available in our community, and it's available through Del Mar College, right?
It looks like she might be having a little trouble with her audio.
Yeah. So as we get Leticia back on, I think one of the things I want to tell you about this library guide was in my work that I do as the curator of DE&I, diversity, equity, and inclusion. It's important to find resources all over. And Megan, you and I worked very closely before, but now I'm in a completely different role. And I think what I do is like I research. You know, the first thing I do is try to figure out who's doing what, who's doing it great. And I found Leticia. And you're back. Are you back?
Yes, I can. Whoo! Yeah, my heart was populating. That's right. It was a challenge. I'm going to work through it.
Yeah, the rubber's meeting the road, and she's not here. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I feel like as we're moving forward, you know, there's been a lot of situations that have happened in 2020, and then obviously now in 2021, that really make us realize that as people of color, right, we have to take a stand in terms of understanding that, you know, as much as you want people to save you, like, you kind of have to like step up, because at some point, don't expect it to work out like you expected. Because, you know, right when I thought, now people know, you know, like I thought, in 2020, there was so much stuff going on. Like, how can you be surprised anymore? Like, now people know. And then right at the beginning of 2021, I'm like, what the frickin', like what's going on right now? It almost felt like another situation. But I feel like what you have done by creating this library guide of social justice for Del Mar College is really kind of putting a spotlight on the fact that we need to be educated. And I think that's probably where the issue is that there's the historical knowledge that we don't have as a community. we don't understand each other. We don't understand where we're all coming from, because we only see I'm not saying that we all have blinders on, but we see what we see and we feel what we feel. There's no way I could have the Leticia experience. There's no way I could be in Megan's shoes and walk through Robstown like Megan did, when she was a young kid growing up, right? There's no way I could live that Megan life. But I have to be able to listen to Megan. I have to be able to listen to Leticia and understand how she grew up. And I feel like the work you're doing with Del Mar is part of that solution. So can you unpack this for us? I went through it pretty quickly, but you have this amazing website. And I want you to unpack it for us, because I feel like this work that you're doing and this library that you've created of content is important for our community.
Oh my goodness. Thank you for asking me about that, Lisa. Well, I'm just walking in your footsteps as a curator, and I cannot take all the credit at all. Marissa, who is our librarian, and she's soon to leave us. Love you, Marissa. And also Dean Cody Gregg. What happened was right after George Floyd got violently killed, I was sick to my stomach, Lisa. I was sick. So I went through the stages of grief, right? Denial. I can't believe this is happening. Sickness, just sadness. And then I got angry. I'll be honest with you. I said, it's 2020 and this is happening still. And so my last stage was realizing that it had happened. Now what? And so I said, what's within my power to control? That's what I'm really about. What can I control? I can't control all the things that happen exteriorly, but I can make an impact. I can try to make change. So then I sent a very long email to our dynamic librarians at Del Mar College and said, can we collaborate to build what's called a LibGuide? Because I'll tell you what happened. A lot of my friends, I have a lot of friends from different cultural backgrounds, different ages and different stages. And they called me or texted me and said, you know what? I'm sorry, Leticia, but can you explain why this is happening? And because I'm really big on boundaries, but also I want to respect that they were like that. Some of my friends honestly wanted to have a really in-depth conversation and understand my lens. So like you were saying earlier, Lisa, not everybody, it's not blinders per se, but I want to add to that and to say it's perspective, it's lens.
Yeah.
So, but it got to the point, Lisa, I was exhausted. I couldn't do that for everybody, because as I was explaining my perspective, I was then pouring out and it was just too heavy. And so I said, what would be the best place for people to self-educate and then for us to have a conversation after they've done some of the work? And that's where the idea resonated, where I sent an email and I said, this is what I want to do. This is my vision. And I actually spoke to the president of the college, Dr. Mark Escamilla, and he was completely behind me. And he said, go full throttle. And we were able to build that LibGuide. The beauty of working at a community college is those resources are not only available to students, faculty, and staff, but it's also available to our Corpus Christi global community. So you can use resources such as electronic journals, videos, ways to embed lesson plans at various levels. But we also talk about not just social justice, but cultural humility, which was coined in 1998 out of the health science field. And there's 3 different tenets that fall under cultural humility. One is that cultural humility is not cultural competence. Please get that out of your mind. Cultural competence to me is disrespectful. It's saying, okay, I know everything I need to know about women of color. I know everything I need to know about veteran students. I'm done. I took this one course and I'm done. Check mark. No, we need to practice cultural humility. And cultural humility has the first tenet of being a lifelong learner. So it's not one and done. It's I'm going to continually educate myself. The second tenet is taking out the power imbalances. So if I'm meeting with a student, I'm not above them. We're learning from each other. We are talking about our experience, our lenses, and we're learning from each other and having that humility, right? And the third tenet is what I challenge everybody that's on this call is have institutional accountability. Institutional accountability. So how do you do that? Make that a part of your hiring practices, in your questions. in your checkpoints, in your professional development for your employees. So cultural humility impacts social justice by educating continuously. So it talks about those 3 tenets, and I'll go back through them: lifelong learner, taking out the power imbalances, and also institutional accountability. So with those 2 coupled things, with collaborating with my dynamic librarians, we were able to curate that library guide. And I'm so grateful for the work that Del Mar College community continues to do, but that we've been able to put out in the world for people to self-educate.
Wow. I just took so many notes right now. And I literally feel like I went through a webinar in like 2 minutes. I'm going to use that as like, I went through like an hour of professional development just by listening to Leticia for these few minutes. Oh my gosh. And I wanted to bring in this resource because it was helpful to me. So part of my role is to try to fill our catalog. So I don't know if you know, but Open Sesame is the world's largest library of e-learning courses, all over the world, right? And so my job is to curate the courses for the diversity, equity, and inclusion category. And so when I saw that, literally as soon as I got the opportunity, you like put up that library guide, and I was like, does the universe love me or what? And that's why I'm stalking you so that I could figure out how you're getting on the show, because you are a Power Up hero. So I see a TED Talk. Okay, so first of all, unmute yourself. But second, I see a book here. We need a book by Leticia. I don't know what the title is, about social justice, but the first big idea is you must have cultural humility. I don't know if there's a book even that has that title. That's the title of your book. You must be a lifelong learner, not one and done. Take out the power, the power of balance, like the balance of power needs to go out. And then institutionalizing accountability. Oh my gosh, I love it. What gets measured gets managed. So make sure you're measuring what you're doing. I love it.
The beauty of that is that the theorists behind that were nurses. And so this is not something that's new and fresh.
Yes.
This was established in 1998.
Yeah.
So it's something that I believe in this time period, some of the things that we need to work on are being magnified. And this is just something that we need to work on.
Yeah, I love it. I feel like you've lived such an intersectional life, right? So that's one of the terms that you have in your library guide, which is talking about how, just many people have different categorizations in terms of who they are, but you're not just your race, you're not just your gender, you're not just, your class, right? You really are the overlapping system of what has made you, your circumstances, your experiences, everything you're going through right now. The fact that you're watching this show right now has just created another intersection of how you're different from the next person. So, and I love that you celebrate that. You celebrate all of that. And not only in this, I guess we could say, Megan, not only in this show that we have right now, but also in life. In life, we have to be able to celebrate other people's differences as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think oftentimes we think that we're a monolithic story, that we're only one layer. We're like an onion that we talked about backstage. We have several layers that we have to peel back. But in order for us to feel comfortable peeling back those layers, we have to build trust.
Yes.
And so that takes time. That's that lifelong learning type of thing. And so once we build the trust, once we self-educate, once we are in uncomfortable spaces, that's when the magic happens. Megan. That's when the magic happens, Lisa. So we all have a responsibility. We can't say, oh, this doesn't affect me, I'm good. We can't have that attitude. We have to say, I am going to constantly engage myself. So
I love it. I love everything about it. It's amazing. So I've been stalking you a little bit. So I saw this amazing picture of yours, right? You have a great story. I love this photo. I think it speaks volumes about the life that you live, right? And I just wanted to share that, but I also wanted to share another picture that I saw of you. And this was from LinkedIn. I think one of the things that I saw you doing is just being a true advocate for the fact that we have to have, like you said, cultural humility, but we also have to be a support system, an ally to maybe our most underrepresented community members, right? Are community members who don't feel like they have a voice. And I feel like you give everybody a voice. So I want to thank you for that. Thank you for that so much.
Thank you.
So in closing, so tell us, how can people get in touch with you?
Well, first and foremost, I want to thank you for allowing me to be in your space. I know you said this is my stage today and we're talking about me, but I'm huge on gratitude. So thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Megan. I have enjoyed this time. This has been fulfilling for me. I have been uncomfortable, and I know this is being recorded, and so it's, forever recorded, but that's okay because I'm speaking my truth.
And Oprah's listening right now, by the way.
Right, that's right. You speak that into existence. You're going to be on Oprah, Lisa. Yes. So
like my show, like just one like. Oh, network.
Just one. That's all we need. That's all the endorsement we need, Oprah and Tyler.
And we're gonna put that one like and like literally like take screenshots of it and like post it everywhere. Just
we're claiming it. We're claiming it right now. So to reel it back in to your question, because I know we could talk forever because I just love this atmosphere of empowering each other. That's what your platform is all about. And I'm grateful for what you do. So how you can get in contact with me, I will be launching my business soon in about 2 months. So I will have that website, and I believe Lisa said that she's going to help me out with that launch, which I said.
When I heard that, I thought you were going to launch your website on our show. Is that what you're going to, so you're okay with that?
I am fine with that. Let's go. Let's go.
Y'all, those of y'all who are watching right now, so Leticia is going to be launching her brand new website. I didn't know this until we were talking backstage. And I told her jokingly, wow, I would love to launch your website on our show. And so it sounds like it's happening. So I'm putting it down. Whenever you're launching, we're having you on.
Thank you.
First.
Thank you. That's right. You got the inside scoop.
Yes.
But until then, you can contact me on LinkedIn, and you can simply type in my name, Leticia Wilson. You can see it down below on the ticker. And I respond frequently to direct messages. So please feel free to contact me on LinkedIn, and it's below. And let's engage. Let's collaborate. Because like I said, that's when the magic happens. Yes. When we build a sense of community, when we vibe off of each other, when we learn each other's stories, and when we just stay connected. Yes. So I would love to connect with you.
And Angie says that she loves you. I guess she loves all of us. She says, love you, ladies. And then she also said, me too. So I guess maybe something we said, and she was very excited that we said that as well, right? So like she was excited with what we said. So Leticia, again, just congratulations on being our Power Up hero of intentionality. We have to be intentional in everything we do. And you have truly been the definition of that. I took a bunch of notes so we can hack this, right? So if y'all like me, you are going to hack how to be the Power Up hero of intentionality. And so if you haven't listened to this whole entire show, you need to go back and hear how you can do this. It's about reaching out to your community, your family. It's about elevating yourself by being uncomfortable. It's about listening to your inner voice more. And it's about pushing through your fear. You see it, and sometimes you can't see past the fear, but you move through it. I love it. I love it. And then that's where the courage comes in. I can go on and on. This entire show was about how you can be a Power Up hero of intentionality and how you can use hope to do that. I want to thank Leticia Wilson for being here on the show with us. And I also want to thank Megan Isasi for being our co-host. And as we come to a close of the show today, I just want to let you all know that this Monday, we are going to be celebrating Martin Luther King Day.
Yes!
And we said the word legacy, okay? So I want to just chime on the word legacy. You know, we heard those words that, you know, like, can dreams change the world, right? And then Martin Luther King talked about he had a dream. And really, that is the point of having hope. Hope is your dreams. You have a hope for a better future. Those are your dreams. And so if you have a dream, you need to speak your dreams, because that's what your legacy is about. We all live different legacies in our lives. Like, I'm thinking about myself, my grandma, my great grandma, my mom, you know, that's one side of my legacy. But I think also forward, right? So there's past legacy that I can learn from, but forward. My children, my children's children, right? And then their children. Like, just think through how you have so many generations that you can impact, and how Martin Luther King's journey was really about legacy. And it started with a dream.
Yes.
Right? It didn't start with this business plan. It started with a dream. But guess what? What is Martin Luther King Day about? Action, right? It's about service. It's about service for us, all of us. So I challenge you this Monday. Megan, you and I are always arm to arm. We're walking the walk together every year. I feel like we're not going to do it this year together, but scared about that because of COVID. But arm to arm, you need to celebrate MLK Day with action, not just service and like you make a donation somewhere. That's all great. But what can you do? Who can you call? Who can you put action into seeing how you can fulfill your dreams? Whatever you think is going to change the world, whatever cause you want to change the world, use that as your action to truly live the dream of the world that you see in your future.
Yes. And Angie says Tamu CC has BHM events. Check them out. Check them on the website or contact her, Angie, because she's in the know. She knows what's happening.
I love that. Thanks. Everybody else watching, if you have stuff going on, I think there is an event going on that's hosted by the YWCA, and I think
YWCA in conjunction with Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. So please feel free to go on YWCA Corpus Christi's website because they are collaborators with Delta Sigma Theta's event, and that's a virtual event. So engage, folks, engage.
Okay, perfect. So I didn't even know about that. So I got an email from Dr. Amy Sanford. So like our friend, Dr. Amy.
Yes, Dr. Amy.
We love Dr. Amy. I'm trying to get her on the show. Dr. Amy, you get on the show. So Dr. Amy has actually written the book on social media, right?
Yes, she has.
So I think we need to get her on the show. And when we get on the show with her, Leticia, you have to promise to come.
Amy is my sister.
Yeah.
I mean, you know how much no words.
There's certain people who we need a pack of PowerUp heroes to come and unpack them. So we'll bring you back when we talk about Dr. Amy. But yes, so definitely this Monday, don't just think about, I have a dream. Well, yes, Martin Luther King Day. Think about you. What are you doing, right? How are your dreams? When you throw those covers off and you had a dream, what dream did you have and how are you putting it into action? And not just on Monday, but every day in 2021. How are you going to bring your dreams into action? So Leticia Wilson, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you. Yeah, you're welcome. And I also have a very short video that's going to celebrate you as an amazing Black woman. I feel like you really do power up Black women, right? And I think Megan does such an amazing job powering up our Latinx women, our Hispanic women. And so today we are celebrating you and all of your magic with an amazing video that Google made for us. So enjoy the video and then we'll end the show right after.
Our magic is in our love and tears, our fears and our flyness.
I do my hair toss, check my nails. Baby, how you feel? Woo, tired of the foolish. Gone, dust your shoulders off. Keep it moving, yeah, slow. Step into some new kicks. In there, swimwear, going to the pool quick. Come now, come dry your eyes. You know you a star, you can touch the sky. I know that it's hard, but you have to try. If you need advice, let me simplify.
Change the world. We've already started.
You must never be defeated, ever.
I do my hair talk, check my nails. Baby, how you feel?
I am Black and proud.
The future belongs to all of us. Feeling good as hell. Baby, how you feeling?
I love it.
I felt like throwing it. I was like, yes.
Right?
Yes.
So Lizzo's just an amazing woman and she has such amazing lyrics. So I just want to thank you so much for being on the show. So Leticia, I want to thank you for being our power up hero of intentionality. I had an amazing time unpacking this trait of being a power up hero. And I'm glad that you have hope for the future that we have in our community and hope for the future that's to come beyond 2021. Thank you, Leticia, for being on the show today. Thank
you for having me.
And Megan, wasn't that an amazing show?
I'm ready for the rest of my day, Lisa.
I know. I almost feel like, she's gone now, but we could literally take this information and write a book. Because she has written the book. She's written the book on how to be a human. I know she's the PowerUp hero of intentionality, but I feel like everything that we wrote down, if I say God's making a human, molding them, if he put all these things in there, this would be the perfect human. So I feel like this is a perfect person, right? I feel like she's amazing. She's truly amazing.
We have the guide to cultural humility at our fingertips right now.
I know. And that is a superpower that we all need to have. So I also want to thank you, Megan, for being on the show today. Thank you for bringing your energy, your amazing energy that's just really, truly about bringing more passion and I guess excitement to the work that we do and knowledge. So I want to thank you for chiming in with us. And Megan, are you going to join us next week? I don't know. I haven't invited you to the next ones, but I want to know, are you going to be able to join us?
I do plan on enjoying every single hero that you have to bring, because as much as they're depositing into the other heroes in Corpus Christi and around the world, it's for me selfishly.
So this is the secret, right? So as much as I am hosting the show, I am learning. So I feel like that's the secret of this show, is that I get to learn without having to go to a class. I'm hosting the class that I'm teaching and I'm learning at the same time. It's perfect. It's perfect from theory to mastery to practice. I love it. I love it. So
learning with each other around the world.
Yes, it is. So Megan, we will see you next week then.
See you later.
Bye. Thank you all so much for joining the show today. Thank you for listening to the show if you're listening through our podcast. If you want to find out more about the PowerUp hero that we interviewed today, Leticia Wilson, our PowerUp hero of intentionality, you can go to our podcast page, which is poweruphero.org. Once again, that website is poweruphero.org. And do you know a role model in our community? Do you watching right now feel like you have lived a heroic journey and you want to tell your story on this show? We want you to tell your story here. So visit our website, poweruphero.org, and let us know more about you so that we can see how you can be nominated to be a PowerUp hero, because we really, truly want your positive attitude. We want your commitment to being a PowerUp hero in real life, and we want our community to know more about you. So again, the website is poweruphero.org. I hope that you were excited to join me on this podcast, but I also ask you to subscribe. So however you're listening, whether it's on LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, whether you're listening on Spotify, on Stitcher, SoundCloud, and just recently we got added to the Amazon cloud. So if you want your Alexa to play PowerUp Hero, just say, Alexa, could you play the PowerUp Hero podcast? And Alexa will do that. Please subscribe to our show so that anywhere and everywhere you tune in, you do not miss these amazing stories. I hope that you are educated. I hope that you are inspired. And I hope that you are encouraged to be a PowerUp hero in real life, not only for yourself, but for the community that you serve, for the teams that you serve with as you passionately do your work, for your family and friends, and for your career. Because I truly feel like work is really the true definition of how we show up as heroes, because our world needs heroes today more than ever before. Thank you so much for watching today, and I hope you have an amazing day on Monday celebrating MLK Day in service to our world. Thank you and have a great Saturday. Bye.